All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome to LiveStream under the Moonshine. Oh, Lord, where are we at? This is episode number 308, and we continue with my playthrough of a horror visual novel, The Letter. So at times, guys, The Letter has seemed more like a Lifetime drama movie about romance and bad marriages and people done wrong and, really bad pasts if we look at Zack in the visual novel, stuff like that. But it seemed like a drama movie more with a lot of, a lot of drama and romance and bad marriage drama and stuff like that. At times it seemed more like that than a horror movie, a horror visual novel. But then there's been times when it's been absolutely over the top horrifying with images that will probably haunt me the rest of my life. So in that regard, it is definitely horrifying at times. So it seems like it overmakes. The one thing this visual novel has done really, really well, though, is it has had really, really good writing, and I have really enjoyed the writing in the visual novel. It's kept me on my toes. It's been very unpredictable, and I like it. I love the art. I mean, as we can see here, this big chandelier with candles is swinging in this church, and it almost makes me wonder if the entire finale of this visual novel is going to somehow be tied to a church with a swinging chandelier. I don't know. We haven't seen a church at all yet. So, guys, we ended the point of view. We ended chapter 4 last time. If we look at the gallery with, I guess we completed 91% of that chapter. I'm guessing we only did 66% of chapter 3 because of the choices we made and some of the things that didn't get unlocked. So I like the replayability because some of the choices you make might completely change the path of how the visual novel ends and unlock more of the content that you may not have seen. So while we have unlocked most of the content in 3 of the 4 chapters so far, there's still a third of chapter 3 that we haven't even seen yet, probably based on the choices we made. So it's been really good, guys. And I look forward, as you can see, we have 3 chapters left. I don't know how long they are, but if they are equivalent to the first 4 chapters, we probably have another, what are we at? This is 16. So yeah, we're probably looking at another 12 episodes, so that means that would take us through LiveStream and Moonshine number 27. So, and then we also have an epilogue as well, so yeah, we'll see. Probably 27, 28 parts would be my guess right now, and we're on 16 tonight. So, let's go ahead and jump back into where we left off, guys. We're picking up at the point of view of, I believe, Rebecca. So let's go ahead and continue from where we left off last time in part 15. Go, Rebecca. Alright, guys, we have a journal update as well. We haven't looked at the relationships or the updates for a while now throughout chapter 4, so let's go ahead and look at some of these. Let's see where we're starting off our relationships with everything. So, this is Rebecca, her relationship with Isabella, and remember, they're both real estate agents, I do believe. So, her relationship with Isabella has went down as of recently. See, she's pretty good friends with Zachary. Hannah, remember, she met Hannah in Hannah's point of view in the library, and they built up a pretty good relationship, really quickly by talking really easily with each other, and almost seemed like there was a little flirtatious banter between them. Obviously, she doesn't have a relationship with herself. I think it would be kind of cool if they showed this self-relationship, because I think people's relationship with themselves is important. How well, how much do you love and respect yourself? Because that's important. Alright, Luke, not as much. She likes Luke more than Hannah for some reason. That's kind of interesting. Kind of an interesting observation. And then Ashton has went down a little bit. New content. Maybe we'll see why her relationship with Ash went down a little bit recently. Alright, so this is Rebecca. The next 2 chapters after Rebecca are Ash and... oh, so we do see Luke's point of view. Okay, so we're going to see Ash and Luke. Luke is the final one. that puts a big in everything. It really makes me wonder how things are going to end with Luke, the asshole, Hannah's husband, the mansion owner, being the last POV that we see. Is once we see his point of view and his perspective, is all of a sudden the guy that was a big asshole, neglectful husband, and the cheating husband as well, is once we see his point of view, is everything going to come together and make more sense? And I guess the big question I have is Luke going to suddenly be relatable? And is he even going to be likable? That's the question. Is Luke going to suddenly become likable in his point of view? That has me anxious and curious to see what happens with that. But right now, guys, it is Rebecca. We're going to see and learn all about her. We haven't seen a whole lot of her. We saw Marianne kind of doing some flirtation with Banner where they both reached for the same book in the library a few chapters ago, or a couple of chapters ago. And then before that, we saw very little from Isabella's point of view. Besides that, we really haven't seen a lot of information on Rebecca. So this is going to be, it's going to be a big light on somebody we haven't really learned a whole lot about. So, oh yeah, I was going to look at the journal. Look at all the new content. Okay. A very spooked Marianne accidentally bumped into Luke Wright. Although things were awkward between the two, Marianne insisted to keep things professional, simply forget about what happened nights ago. Yep, remember that. And the mansion's arrangements were discussed over breakfast during the meeting. The Wright couple had an argument about the mansion's arrangements. In the end, they decided to settle it. Here we go. Here's new content. Marianne examined the first floor upon arrival of the mansion. After a small talk with Hannah Wright, Marianne headed for the study. There she saw a ghost from her past reflected in the mirror. Yeah, that was horrifying. Despite that, she gave her word that she would see through the project until the very end. Okay, and then a couple of days later, yep. To keep her mind off things that haunt her, Marianne McCullough focused on assisting the Wrights during their move-in. Later that afternoon, she was seen chatting with Luke Wright, who then demanded she and the rest of her crew take off early. We do remember that. And then that's the night when she got drunk at the bar. An interior designer once again drank her frustrations away at the Crawl Bar. Albeit heavily intoxicated, she was seen chatting with Ashton Frey, a detective inspector working for the Luxbourne Police Department, about Luke Wright. So Ash is a Luxbourne police detective and working for the police department, and he was trying to get information about Ashton Frey. Before abruptly leaving, the detective left her his calling card. Now, I do kind of wonder if Ash is only trying to investigate Luke Wright because of his friendship with Zach and being worried that Zach is getting a little bit too close to Hannah, Luke's wife. Or is it something more than that? We don't really know. Okay, so then we have new content on Friday the 28th. The past girlfriend, yeah. Desperate to deal with her painful past, Marianne McCullough excused herself from attending the housewarming party to search for Amy Lorraine within the mansion. Seeing her ghost in the wine cellar, however, a realization hit her and she finally let go. And then, while trying to escape the Phantom disguising as her friend, Marianne discovered an underground prison hidden in the deepest corners of the mansion. Now trapped in one of its cells, she found a recording left behind by one of the mansion's victims. I don't remember that at all. Why am I not remembering this? Was I not paying attention while I was reading? Interesting. Yeah, I don't remember this dialogue at all. You guys, if you guys are watching this on YouTube, you'll have to leave me a comment. Let me know if I'm losing my mind or something, but I do not remember her coming across a camcorder and seeing evidence. Now trapped in one of its cells, she found a recording left behind by some of the mansion's victims. Interesting. Okay, well, we caught up on all the dialogue. And now we're at Rebecca. Let's go ahead and take a look at Rebecca's profile here. She's 29, 5'5". She's a history teacher. Okay, so right here I thought she was... I don't know why I was thinking she was working with as a real estate agent. No, she's not. She's a history teacher. Scottish. Atheist. Okay, she doesn't believe in Christ or anything. Education, master's degree in education. Major in European history. She likes movies. Reading in the library. Okay, that makes sense now. Going to the gym, cycling and jogging, lacrosse, and lesson plans. Although of Scottish descent, she grew up in Luxembourg and even went to school in St. Goretti. Her parents were professors of European history and Southeast Asian history at the University of Luxembourg. They were often busy and forced Rebecca to be independent early on. Surrounded by books and instilled with love and learning, she was a star pupil and often called a teacher's pet for it. Her passion for academics leading to a career in the industry was to be expected of her. She came out of her shell in her high school years and started becoming the Spitfire she is now. Before then, Ashton was her only friend, though she found him aggravating at first. Independent and used to taking care of others, it was no surprise when she helped out the young foreigner who moves in next door. Okay. So, this is how it begins, or so they say. With a gentle wind drifting through the wide open windows, muffled laughters and footsteps fading behind empty hallways, and the light kiss of the afternoon sun. Soon there will be a call, a crossing of thresholds into the unknown. Maybe we are off to see some grand adventure, or diving into another gripping mystery. One can't really tell, and for all I know, a hero might even come sweep me off my feet, if I'm lucky.
That's not exactly a bad thing when you think about it.
But this is far from one, isn't it? A riveting tale, that is. So she's at the St. Gertie High School in the afternoon on Friday the 21st. Friday the 21st of... it doesn't tell me. Okay. I think it's 21st of October. The mild breeze, the faint murmurs, the warm rays painting every nook and cranny a fairy hue. They are all as real as they can get. As much as I want to write a little tale out of this, I'm far from someone who can. Fleeting fancies, that's what these are. Merely passing thoughts to occupy an idle mind, while waiting for another busy workday to end. Then again, maybe in another life, I am one. Who knows? But at present, what I have and what I've chosen to be? Well...
I won't last years here if I find teaching rowdy adolescents a tedious job, will I?
That's a good point. Admittedly, the whole affair isn't exactly as grand or as exciting as I had imagined it as a child. Always wanted to be a school teacher, then it sounds like. If I weren't so stubborn and too passionate about this whole idea, I probably would have quit a long time ago. But it's always the kids that make it worthwhile, right? As if in agreement, as soon as my pen slides into a neat circle against the papers I'm grading, the final bell rings. Love the birds flying outside. Like a dam that is open, students began piling out into the hallways soon after. And for a short moment, I let the noise fill my ears. I let my mind wander to a place far removed from all the hubbub. Solitary moments like this have come few and far between lately. Even my own home hasn't been as quiet as I usually prefer. Though in hindsight, the entire place hasn't been the same either, since Isabella moved in next door. And if her fussing over a minor cold last week tells me anything, I might as well throw any idea of solitude out the nearest balcony, so long as she lives nearby. At the memory, my eyes automatically shift over the bottle sitting at the edge of my desk. A chuckle escapes me as I reach for it. Okay, so cough medicine looks like.
A little ball of energy and enthusiasm. That big baby.
Mother hen, she calls me, and then says and does the same thing right after. It's not that I'm unused to being on the receiving end of other people's worries, or I feel any sort of apprehension over her fretting. So this does take me back. I do remember a moment when Yeah, I think that Isabella, from her point of view, remember that's the first person back to chapter 1. First point of view we had was Isabella. She's the real estate agent, and I do something to remember about. I think she's sort of friends with her neighbor here. She just moved in, though, and they have got acquainted, and I do remember at the very start something about Isabella concerned about her cough or whatever, and telling her to make sure that she took some medicine to take care of it or something like that. I do remember that. Alright. If I am to be completely honest, it's usually amusing how someone can be childlike 1 minute and then act like a responsible adult the very next minute. But there's a dissonance there, both in her actions and in her words. Although she may not look like it, may not say anything, may not lose her cheer, one way or another, I know these troubles have weighed down on her lately. So I know these troubles have weighed down on her lately. Her face says it all. That big numpty. Yeah, a lot of these words I've just never seen or heard before. This whole European UK thing. What the hell is a numpty? I guess it means knucklehead. That's what I'm going to assume. If she thinks I won't notice, she's got another thing coming for her. But that's how she has always been. I do understand that part loud and clear. It's just that I really rather not pass another burden onto her.
Or become one myself.
I can understand how someone would want to become a burden to somebody else. Aren't I supposed to be the one taking care of them? Though I guess that's simply one of those things people eventually grow away from. Once you're all started leading different lives. Not completely different, I hope. Somehow that thought makes me feel, well, uneasy. Thankfully, before stranger ideas can take root in my head, a faint buzzing comes from my bag, cutting through the rest of my thoughts. A small frown forms in my lips when the screen lights up and an unknown number flashes. For a long second, my thumb hovers over the answer button. Even the voice that responds once I do accept the call is wholly unfamiliar. So unknown. Okay, who the hell is this?
Hello?
Oh, goodness. Finally, it connects.
I don't recognize that voice, not at least right now.
Hello? Is this Miss Gales? Rebecca Gales?
Oh, this is Hannah. It's probably Hannah.
Yes, Yes, speaking. Who is this?
Oh, sorry. Rose Cooper.
Oh, no, Rose Cooper.
Prior Realty Corporation.
Okay, that's why I don't recognize that voice. So this is Rose. Remember what happened to Rose, guys? Yeah, so she's probably looking for the historian to come and check the place out.
Briar Realty?
Look at that expression. My frown deepens as I straighten from my chair. Something in her tone, despite sounding remarkably friendly and light, doesn't sit quite right with me. The rigid pause that follows doesn't help ease my tension that has suddenly descended either.
Miss Cooper?
Yes. Things are a bit busy on my end. I apologize. I'm not certain if Isabella has mentioned anything before, but we're working together on a property at the moment, and...
The Armengard Mansion, yes. She said something about that earlier. Is there a problem?
This is about Isabella, actually.
And she wastes no time relaying everything. How she's concerned about her, yeah. Probably Isabella having the trip in the mansion and saying that she saw something ghastly, which she did. The details she provided me are admittedly a bit vague, but enough for me to get a gist of what happened. It isn't the bad sort I'm expecting, though it's still worrying. Especially with words panic attack and pale looking a bit sickly woven together in one foreboding sentence. But as quickly as it surfaces, I stomp down on the urge to demand answers right there and then. Now isn't the proper time for useless questions. I'll find out soon enough regardless. To Miss Cooper's credit, she neither hesitates nor falters all throughout. There's some sort of comfort in knowing that Isabella has someone like her to guide her, though not as much as I would have liked. After all, this is Isabella we're talking about. What are the chances she said he just said a bunch of excuses so she won't get sent home? High. Very high. Oh, she is going to hear it this time.
You were listed as one of her emergency contacts, so I thought it'd be best you know about this.
I see. An emergency contact, huh? She must be pretty close to this neighbor.
How is she? Is she doing okay?
I had her take a break for now, but honestly, I'd feel better if someone were to pick her up and take her home for some rest. Anthem's a fair distance from Luxbourne. I really don't want her going off on her own.
Right.
I'd do it myself, but you know how it is today. Big day. People everywhere until the open house ends. I'm really sorry to ask this of you, Miss Gales. I know you're busy.
Oh, no, it's all good. I was just about to leave from work. I hope to leave early today anyway. A few minutes ahead wouldn't hurt. I can be there in a few, 30, 40 minutes tops. Is that all right?
More than fine, Miss Gales, thank you. We're supposed to be here until... Oh, excuse me. One moment, please. Yes, ma'am.
The faint hum of conversation echoes from her end. It sounds as though the place is buzzing with more people than you would expect from a regular open house. I was skeptical at first. The house is odd. It's old. Not to mention its inconvenient location in Luxbourne's outskirts. Who wants to live in a place almost an hour's drive from the comforts of the city? But from what little I can hear, it appears Isabella has every right to be optimistic about the sale. If I didn't understand why she was so adamant refusing my offer to help before, I think I do now. Yeah, I do remember as well, early in Isabella's point of view, how she was talking about how she was strapped for cash, and yeah, this gal here, Rebecca, offered to help her. That she couldn't ask any time for help, and Isabella had pride and said no. To some degree.
We'll be resuming the tour soon. Yes, thank you. Sorry about that. I really need to get this thing going. Lord knows how I'll salvage the situation here. It shouldn't be anything complicated, but still, clients. It can be difficult when they want to be. Anyway, just look for me when you get here, alright? I shouldn't be too hard to miss.
Right.
No problem. Thanks for letting me know about this. Just make sure Isabella stays put, please. Heaven knows how stubborn that girl can be.
Oh, believe me, I know. Don't worry about it. I'll have a few of our staff keep an eye on her for me until you get here.
That's all I'm asking. I appreciate it.
The whole thing ends on a surprisingly pleasant note. If only the same could be said for the news that she brought. I allow a brief minute to pass to ease whatever tension has latched itself firmly onto my nerves. But no matter how much I wish for it, my mind stubbornly refuses to do so. My hands are unsteady against the papers I pretend to arrange afterwards. Lucid thoughts, every single one of it grimmer than the other. It grows with each passing second that I linger. Something about this whole thing, along with the sudden unease and nagging worry, it just screams, off. Wrong. This isn't the riveting tale I had hoped to step into today. Right? So now she's at the St. Gerardis High School in the afternoon still. Even on a rush, getting everything in order before leaving takes nearly a good quarter of an hour, so 15 minutes. Makes sense. By the time I make it out of the classroom, the commotion has already died down, dwindling to more echoes and distant laughters. From the nearby room, melodies from a rehearsing band drift freely into the air, filling the almost empty hallway with their warm, lively tunes. Any other day, I'd stop, bask in the music, and enjoy what little peace it brings. And see, that's one thing I love about this visual novel is everything is very well described. You can almost put yourself there in that school, and you can hear the tune being played from the nearby chorus room, and you can hear the you know, the teenagers laughing in the distance and stuff like that as they make their way about the hallways and interact with each other and stuff like that. It's just very well written, I think. Not today, however. My steps are brisk and sure as I march to the Edward Hall's exit. The sooner I confirm Isabella is okay, the sooner I can shake off this niggling feeling. For one reason or another, that single call of all possible things has thrown everything off kilter. I'd rather this just be over with as quickly as possible. That's understandable. So much that I nearly barrel over a student in my haste. Oh wow, I like how the screen kind of flinched. Though perhaps it really is the other way around. And when oh my god, it's that same little girl that we saw that was talking to Zach in the park. When I look down, a set of eyes, bright and hopeful, stare back at me. Her arms are wrapped around my waist like a vise, and at my attention, a grin spreads across her face. So, this gal, if I remember right, she was only like 6 years old or something like that. What the hell is she doing in a high school? That's my first question. Maybe we'll find out.
Buenas tardes, Miss Pink.
Hello, Kylie.
Ah, she knows her.
You know, you aren't supposed to run into people like that.
Sorry, Miss Pink.
Kylie is adorable. She loosens her hold on me, but not a hint of guilt or regret appears on her. If anything, it seems like the remark only amused her. A smile appears on my face before I can help it, matching the one on her own.
Just remember not to do it again, all right? You could get hurt.
You sound like my mama when she's scolding Rowan, Miss Pink.
That's cool.
I'm sure your mama only means well. I know she'll be worried sick if one of you were to get hurt. Where's your brother anyway? Aren't you two supposed to be heading home now?
Rowan said he's got some stuff he needs to do before we go.
Oh, that's why she's in the school. She's her bigger brother. Okay.
I think he's taking too long. But he promised to buy me jelly babies today. If I keep what he's doing a secret from Mama and Papa.
Yeah, you're not doing a very good job of keeping a secret. But I guess you're keeping a secret from Ma and Pa, so that's fair.
Any chance you'll tell Miss Pink about it?
She shakes her head, both her hands going to her mouth as if to keep a precious secret from spilling out. I wonder what you guys are thinking out there. If you haven't heard or played this visual novel yet, I am betting $10 that secret comes out to Rebecca here. Yep, if I was a betting man, I would bet she spills it to Rebecca, especially since Rebecca asked and she seems to adore Rebecca. And of course, how could you not adore a blue-haired, blue-eyed child like this, right? As an adult.
I made a promise.
Yeah, spill it, little girl.
He said it's for Tia Luke.
Oh, something like a gift?
Like a deal. Tio promised to take him somewhere cool when he's old enough. Rowan's gonna prove he's a grown-up.
Laughter slips free from my lips. The teacher in me wants to give whoever this Tio is a reprimand for bringing about this kind of behavior in children. But if both Suarez kids are so fond of him, there shouldn't be anything to worry about, yeah? At any rate, they're nothing but well-behaved, both Kylie and her brother. Rowan, the eldest, may have an occasional odd streak in and out of class, but their parents have taught them well. I see no reason to cast any suspicion of bad behavior on them.
As long as it isn't anything dangerous, all right?
It's not. Cross my heart. My drawings are a lot prettier than what he's doing anyway. Tio said so. Do you want to see? I drew one earlier at class.
Is that why you're here?
Not really.
I'm so sure.
I was gonna show it to my friend first. But since it's you, I'm sure she wouldn't mind if you see it before she does.
Oh no. I can't stay right now, Kylie.
Her face falls immediately. She looks sad after the words are out. A small part of me feels responsible for that crestfallen look. But as much as I want to stay a little bit longer, there's another place I need to be right now. And frankly, another child to look after, calling Isabella a child. Taking both of her hands, I kneel in front of her and muster the most rueful smile I can give. And at her age, I'm quite sure she already understands what I'm about to say before they're even out. But remarkably, she doesn't look away or pout as I'm expecting her to.
I'm sorry.
Yes, even Rebecca looks sad here.
You know what? Rowan has a class with me on Monday around this time. Why don't you drop by again next week? After class? I'll even make sure to wait for you.
Aw.
It's just that I absolutely must leave now. My friend had an accident earlier, and I'm the only one she has here.
Aw.
What about her mama and papa?
Her family lives really far from here, I'm afraid. Do you remember where Asia is? The southeast part? That's where they are.
Her eyes immediately light up at my question, and just like that, I know I've earned the girl's forgiveness. There you go.
Oh, just like Takako.
Who?
My friend. She said she used to live there, only just a little higher than southeast. But she hasn't come home in a long time, so she doesn't remember much about it anymore. Melody says it's weird I talked to her, but I think she's just shy. They could be good friends too. Don't you think so, Miss Pink?
Maybe if you introduce them properly, they will be.
That's what I think. Takako's just lonely. If she makes more friends, she won't be anymore.
There you go.
Is your friend like that too?
A little, possibly. To be honest, sometimes I can't tell with her.
After all, Isabella has always been the kind to hold a smile even when things have taken a turn for the worse. 5 years and one will think it's enough time to know a person. She's known her for 5 years. But when you consider it, come to think of it, all these years I've never, not even once, seen her cry. Not over a trivial matter or even when things are really tough.
Okay, you can go to her. I'll just show you my drawing next time.
Aw.
Thank you. Remind me to buy you a huge glass of parfait, all right?
No, I'll get a stomachache. Takako says so.
Huh?
A small one is okay.
I'll remember that. Say hi to your friend for me.
I will. I'm sure she'd love to meet you too. See you, Miss Pink.
That girl is cute. She's adorable.
I'll see you later, Kylie.
London Bridge is falling down, falling down, falling down. London Bridge is falling
Like I said, she's adorable.
down. My fair lady.
And with a song and an extra spring in her step, she bounds across the corridor with as much spirit as a child her age can have. As if the conversation has never taken any downhill turn for her at all. As if there isn't a single thing to worry about in the world. Not long after, she disappears behind a door, leaving behind strains of an old familiar rhyme lingering in the air. Carefree, unforbidden, untroubled moments like this, and I envy her. As I resume my hurried pace, a teeny whisper at the back of my mind wishes the same could be said for myself and my own worries, naturally. Alright, so now we're in Luxembourg. Luxembourg may be a small city, but there's no stranger to hellish rush hour traffic. Let's go ahead and check out this journal that was just written about Kylie and Marianne. So it's got to be in Rebecca somewhere, right? Oh yeah, we got to go to the timeline. There we go. Yep. On Friday the 21st of October, Rebecca Ellis received a phone call from Rose Cooper after class, asking her to pick up Isabella Santos from the Immigrant Mansion. On her way out of school, an excited Kaylee Suarez stops her favorite teacher from leaving. There we go. Not a whole lot there, but wanted to catch up on it right away. Alright, so rush hour traffic in Luxembourg, in a small city. Surprisingly, getting out of the city today proves to be more of a breeze than a hassle, thank God, right? A relief considering how none of my calls to Isabella have made it through. Either the reception's really bad over there, or she's ignoring them on purpose. But it does nothing to ease the disquiet in me. The rest of my drive passes without much incident as soon as I'm out of the busy streets. Breyer Realty Corporation. Look how big that building is. Damn. I just noticed that. There's a library. We had an incident in the library. I think that's the only places. Coffee place. Okay. In less than 30 minutes, the mansion looms ahead of me. For all the fuss Isabella has made about the house, it remains a thing of beauty. Unlike Luxport, the estate and the nearby Anselm village stand as its complete opposite. Living and breathing the songs of the old, whispers of a once booming haven lingering in the air. Contemporary conveniences aside, it's a place I'm glad a modernization isn't wholly touched.
It's just a shame the locals know more of the silly hearsay than the history itself.
Right?
If I could only knock some sense into these people!
So Rebecca obviously doesn't believe in all the rumors about this Luxborn mansion that have existed for many years, evidently. The rumors of it basically being haunted. And as far as we know, from what we've seen of everybody else's point of view, the place is haunted AF. So, yeah. So, it sounds like Rebecca's wrong. Sadly, complaining is all I can afford to do. As much as I want to give them a piece of my mind, it isn't why I'm here. I don't think these rich types will appreciate getting a lecture from me either. I have as much business with them as they have with me. And with a heavy sigh, I give myself one last second to take in the scenery before heading up to the main entrance. Most of the guests are already heading out. Though some still linger, it's mainly just to take photos of the house's facade or to various rooms. I pause for a moment, scanning the small crowd gathered at the foyer, looking for any sign of that familiar ponytail among the sea of hats and heads.
No sign of her.
No sign of the other staff or of Miss Cooper either. I can certainly look for Isabella on my own, but in a place this big, kind of place you've never been to, I'd be lucky if I didn't end up lost or find her before we need to meet with Zachary and Ash tonight. Sighing, I reach for my mobile and redial her number, the gesture familiar now after so many attempts earlier. Calling. If she doesn't answer, I can still try contacting Miss Cooper again. I just hope the network reception will cooperate this time. This side of the country, or this side of the county, has been more popular with the tech savvy after all. Has never been popular with tech savvy. So this is the kind of place where you're out in the country a little bit and shit just doesn't work right. Your phone doesn't get reception right, you know, things like that. There's not a whole lot of technology out there. Which you would think a big internet provider or whatever in Luxport would definitely, or a cell phone service provider would definitely want to make sure service is available in a big mansion like this, but eh. To my relief, it only took 3 unsuccessful tries. And on the 4th one, right as I was about to switch to another intercept message, the line finally rings. But is she going to answer? Silence follows while I wait for her to pick up, the ringing going far too long for my taste. By now, most of the visitors have already cleared out. All I have for company are the faint murmurs and an eerie calmness left in their wake. A sudden hush settles and gives way to noises louder than they're ever meant to be. Doors creaking and slamming shut in some distant part of the mansion. Floorboards groaning under the sheer weight of the house's history. That sounds creepy. Can you imagine that? You're sitting there waiting. You know that your good friend, your neighbor, has had an incident, panic attack, and stuff like that. You're going to pick her up to take her home so she can get some much needed rest for somebody that you've never talked to asking you to, because Rose Cooper works with her and she's a fellow real estate agent. And so you're driving 40 minutes out of your way to go pick her up to take her home. You walk in this big mansion, which you've heard rumors about for years. And even though you don't believe these rumors, now you're inside this mansion waiting for Isabella to call. You already kind of have an unease about you. That call telling you to come pick up Isabella just kind of made your nerves uneasy. And now you're standing here in this big mansion and you're hearing doors creaking and slamming shut in a distant part of the mansion. Click, slam. And you're hearing the floorboards groaning under the sheer weight. You're just hearing little creaks and groans from the house. That's kind of creepy. In the now empty hall, they all reverberate with special clarity against the walls. Yeah, and all these sounds are echoing through the gigantic mansion. Like this, the old stories seem to have almost have a ring of truth to them. So basically, she's basically saying these rumors might have some truth to them. I don't get to stray too far into that ugly line of thought, however. Not a second later, a click sounds from the other end. Okay, so we're connected.
Hello? Isabella?
Oh boy.
Miss Cooper called earlier and...
Oh my god. It's a fucking groaning from that thing that lives here, that zombie thing. That bee. That big fucking ugly ass bitch. Oh my god. That is so horrifying. Help me, is the whispers.
Isabella?
She knows that's not Isabella.
Belle? Are you alright?
And without any warning, the call just gets cut off. Yeah, that's horrifying. So, Rebecca is already at unease, driving the whole way up to this place, and right after the call, I can only imagine how her nerves are going off right now, and her unease. Busy notes blare sharply against the heavy silence. But above the noise cutting through the mute air remains the faint cries of a woman. From beyond the foyer. My hand falls to my side as I cast a wary look around, waiting for someone to come out running. Surely I can't be the only one hearing this. There must be some staff hanging around, checking things out? But no one does. Not even when her sobs turn more frantic and anguished.
Excuse me? Hello? Who's there?
You can see that you can tell she's horrified by the way she's talking. Who's there? Yeah, you can tell she's filled with fear.
Isabella? Isabella? Is that you?
Desperate for Isabella to be there so she can GTFO. Come on, Isabella, come out so we can take you home. I wanted to GTFO out of here. No answer. Growing anxious, I amble over where her cries came from, each step slow and cautious towards a door on the other end of the room. And while I'm far from someone who readily gives in to fear and stories about lacking factual basis, the vague, restless feeling I had earlier immediately returns to me. And despite myself, my heart begins to race and my breathing quickens.
Belle? Belle, it's me. Miss Cooper called. Is everything okay?
Abruptly, all of it stops. My whole body tenses, mouth dragging in a ragged breath, ears straining for any other sound yet to come from the other side. But nothing follows. Almost like we hear her own heart. Instead, the quiet only lends itself to the heavy tension in the air, as if every small movement will disturb the fragile stillness hanging in the room. I wait for just another second, and then with caution, I reach for the knob. My fingers barely graze the brass handle when a hand falls on my shoulder.
Excuse me, ma'am?
Oh, it's Rose. My God. Look at her. Look at that. Look at that look. Damn. Good art.
I am so sorry. I didn't mean to startle you.
No, it's...
Huh. Still reeling, my gaze shifts back to the door as if any second now the cries will start again or whoever's inside will burst out of this room. But I don't get to dwell on these. The woman's worried voice breaks through the haze in my mind again, oddly soothing in the thick of the unease. Even if a concerned look comes from a total stranger, finally being in the company of someone else is somehow comforting.
Ma'am? Are you okay?
Oh, no, I'm fine. This is probably just some cold.
Isn't it interesting how we as people, we as humans, anytime we feel like we're acting off or acting weird or, something we don't understand like that, we always make excuses and we don't want other people to think we're absolutely insane, because if we tell them what the hell we're freaking out about, they're going to think we're goddamn crazy. Isn't that the truth?
Do you need to sit down?
No need. I'm actually looking for a friend.
She knows who you're looking for. She called you, remember? I wave the mobile in front of her like the gesture alone explains everything. Vaguely, I note my tight grip on it and quickly slip it into my pocket before she notices. She doesn't need to know.
Well, I'm not really sure if your friend would still be here. We're actually about to close the open house in a few minutes, ma'am.
Wait a minute, it was Rose Cooper that called her, right? Am I losing my mind? I think it was Rose Cooper that called her and told her to come pick up Isabella. Yeah. Yeah, it was Rose. Yeah, it was Isabella's real estate, right? Oh my god, now I gotta find out. Am I losing my damn mind? Let's go way back. Oh my god, man. There's Kylie. God, it's way up here. Yeah, Miss Cooper. That's what I thought. Yeah. Just make sure, Rebecca says, just make sure Isabella stays put. Yeah, Miss Cooper. That's what I thought. Yeah. Alright. I was losing my mind there for a minute. Alright, so we're actually about to close the open house in just a few moments, ma'am.
No worries. She's not a guest here. She works for Briar Realty.
My confusion here comes with how does Miss Cooper not know why Rebecca's there? Does she not know it's Rebecca? Maybe Rose doesn't think this is Rebecca. Maybe she thinks she's somebody else there looking at the mansion or something. Maybe that's why.
Miss Cooper called me earlier.
Oh, okay. They don't.
In fact, I'm also looking for her.
Yeah, they don't know who each other is. I got you. Okay, that makes sense now. Now they know. Recognition flashes in her eyes, and her worried expression dissolves into a smile at once. Yeah, you had me confused there for a minute. It's all I need to know that I don't have to look elsewhere or venture deeper into the mansion on my own. In some way, I'm not too keen on the latter right now.
Oh, Miss Rebecca Gales, is it?
Yes. Sorry if I'm a bit late.
It's not a problem. I was busy with the open house and a few clients anyway. It's actually a good thing you came when you did. Let's see. Isabella should be here somewhere. I told her to stay put earlier. That girl never listened.
Rose? Rosie?
Who's this?
May I have a minute? There's just this one little thing before we go.
That's Hannah. Miss Cooper's head immediately snaps up at the voice. In a blink, a different kind of smile spreads on her face. A smile still, friendly even, but the kind given mainly for the sake of pleasing other people rather than just making friends.
Yes, ma'am. I'll be there in a few.
It's an impressive thing, to say the least. Salesman. I mean, she's a sales lady. That level of professionalism. I suppose working years in this kind of business trains you enough to be able to pull that off without batting an eye. It certainly doesn't seem to have rubbed off on Isabella, though.
Sorry, could you give me a second? I have to take care of this.
Don't worry about it. I understand. I can wait a few more minutes. Clients, right?
You won't hear anything from me. Priorities, you know? But if you want, you can stay at the parlor in the meantime. I think we have a few refreshments left.
No, thank you. I'm going out with a few friends after this. Isabella's supposed to join us too. But that depends on how she's doing, of course.
All right, this won't be long, I promise.
And she throws me an apologetic look before sauntering over to the small group gathered at the entrance. Alright, yep. There's Hannah and her husband Luke. And here's Rose. And then this is, we just took her place, Marianne, the interior decorator. A couple, or siblings maybe, and another woman, probably their secretary. Either way, they looked no different from the other guests. All three of them primely dressed, albeit in a manner significantly simpler than the others. And no frills, no extravagance of any form. But their gestures and movements alone speak volumes of their ingrained lifestyle. In their presence, I do what I can to appear inconspicuous on my side of the foyer. Maybe accepting Miss Cooper's offer would have been a much better choice, and standing around awkwardly and gaping at them. All while also attempting my best not to listen in on their conversation. Or eavesdrop, right? Not trying to eavesdrop. Although that one proves more difficult with how enthusiastic the blonde woman is. Her voice easily echoes through the walls, and with only the 5 of us here. Pretty soon I find myself being drawn into their talk without meaning to at all.
Tomorrow? First thing in the morning?
First thing in the morning, ma'am.
The mundane talk isn't what catches my attention, however.
Very well. We'll have our lawyers prepare everything as soon as possible. Let's make this whole thing easier for everyone, shall we? Just let me know if there's anything you need from me. You know how to contact me, yes?
Got your mobile number saved here already.
Good. It's just a matter of time then.
It's a very brief moment. A fleeting shift of my eye.
Monday for us, Marianne.
As long as you're positive, we won't be having any problems by that time. You can count on my team.
You worry too much. Let me handle those things. Do be thrilled, though. I imagine it's not every day you get projects like this,
And the instant I turn my gaze on him, I see it.
Oh, I'm certain Mint's ecstatic, Buttercup.
I'm certain Mint. Now that was his nickname for her when he met her in the bar and tried to seduce her. Yep, and she even invited him back to her place, not knowing yet that Luke was her husband, the person she was going to go meet. And she's calling Luke is calling her Mint, giving her a nickname already? Weird. He calls his wife Buttercup, but he calls her Mint. That's just kind of creepy.
Aren't you, Marianne? You know, we could all celebrate this with a few drinks. Why don't we?
Oh man, see, even Rebecca here is noticing how vile and creepy this guy is. This is why it makes me really curious and anxious to finally play and see Luke's point of view.
In fact, there's this really excellent Irish pub I visited a few days ago.
Oh boy. Yeah. And at this point, they've already met. Marianne has already invited Luke back to her place after meeting him in the bar. She was drunk, they were horny, she invited him back, and she turned him down. And so Luke's still trying to get his way. He's still trying to get in between her legs. Right here, standing beside his lovely wife. That's just disgusting behavior. Looming, hovering over his shoulders, drawn to him like a moth to a flame. A dark blur. No. A shadow. So she's seeing a dark blur or a shadow right behind Luke here. Maybe it's his evil fucking presence. It's his evil personality. He is a devil.
I think I'll pass on that, sir. I have more important matters to attend to.
Boy, this is all making more sense now, hearing the way they're talking to each other, hearing the way she says that. Let's listen to that again, guys. I think we can do that right here. Yeah. So listen to him say this. He's talking about, hey, why don't we have a few drinks?
You know, we could all celebrate this with a few drinks. Why don't we?
Trying to pronunciate drinks, trying to get his point across. Hey, remember when we were drinking and what happened? He's trying to tell Marianne. He's still trying to get inside of her.
In fact, there's this really excellent Irish pub I visited a few days ago.
Yeah, trying to make that point again that, hey, I visited this pub and, hey, I didn't get my way. Let's go drink it again. We need to get together and have some drinks. What a dick, man. And then listen to the way she turns him down here.
I think I'll pass on that, sir. I have more important matters to attend to.
More important matters. Everything's more important than you vile scum. You guys hear that in the tone? That's awesome. I'm saying, great voice acting, great story writing. I love it.
You heard her, love. She's busy.
Yeah. So it's almost like she's not even hearing anything anymore. Like everything's kind of muffled now. That's such a shame. You never let me do anything fun, he says. But as I try to make sense of it all, a heavy feeling descends over my entire body. Oh boy. It happens without warning, forcing me to just close my eyes. The sensation creeps to every part of me, crawling under my skin and draining me little by little of all my strength. Before I know it, my hand is gripping the nearby door for support. The sudden nausea drowns out their voices and what little sound there is. All except for the whispers and laughters. Judging, mocking, taunting, muffled, inaudible words bearing down on me like a death sentence. They wrap around my neck and my limbs, binds tightening with every syllable, every utterance. And with each draw of breath I take, they drag me down slowly, almost painfully, into a bottomless abyss. On, and on, and on, till the sounds turn into mere distant echoes. Until suddenly it shatters.
Well, what are we waiting for? Are we done here?
Now it sounds like not Rose, sounds like Rebecca almost passed the F out. His voice rips through the fog like a sharp blade and my eyes snap open. And when I look at them again, the darkness is gone, whatever evil it was.
You can head back to the car first if you want, Luke.
Yeah, Hannah's like, you're embarrassing the shit out of me. Hey, go to the door so I can apologize on your behalf, you fucking creep. And she's not real happy with her husband. And this is where things, from Hannah's point of view, this is where things all started going adrift in her marriage. Like, where he started becoming an asshole and, you know, she started thinking that they need a break and everything like that. It all started on this day with just him being an ass. And I don't even think she knows how big of an ass he's being. Basically flirting with Marianne right in front of her. And basically saying, hey, I still want to fuck you, is basically what he's saying with what he said earlier about, hey, we should have some more drinks and stuff like that. He's basically telling Marianne, I still want to fuck you, we need to make it happen. And poor Hannah here has no idea. Fucked up.
I hope that settles everything, Rose. I don't know what Isabel's problem is, but please make sure she doesn't hurt herself. Anyway, we're looking forward to seeing you tomorrow.
Likewise, ma'am.
No shadows or dark clouds. Only amicable smiles and cordial handshakes. The usual pleasantries as Miss Cooper leads them out of the mansion like a graceful host. None of the group seems to have noticed it at all. And even as I force my breathing to calm down, keep my eyes trained on their backs, and wait for something to happen, the darkness doesn't come back. She returns a moment later. Gently, she closes the great doors behind her, but there's a smile on her lips and an extra skip in her step. And then she walks back to me. She's got to sell. She's got people that are interested in buying the mansion, so that's why she's happy and has an extra skip in her step. Whatever she was discussing with the group had put her in a very good mood. Even she appears to not have observed anything odd. Was I just seeing things? Was it my imagination?
Glad that was over. It's been a long day. I thought for sure we were going to... hey, are you sure you're doing okay? You look a bit green.
Like your hair?
It's all good. I'm actually still recovering from a cold.
Oh boy.
Weather's been crazy lately.
Like I said, the excuses we make are the excuses we tell other people to not think we're fucking crazy! Because that's exactly what Rose would think if she knew. If she told her the truth. But that must be it. Yeah, the weather is stupid cold, and the friendly warnings I'm too stubborn to listen to. As much as I hate to admit it, Isabella's right. I was, and still am, a little feverish when she visited me at school this morning. The medicine did help, of course, but only a little. Although it's not like I can't function, it did get better after lunch, and I was able to go through my schedule like the usual. Now I'm not so sure. However, I can't keep acting like I've seen some sort of apparition when it's anything but. I simply must have listened too many times to Isabella last week. My fever-muddled mind has started to confuse things. Yeah, that's gotta be it. If this doesn't let up, I just need another visit to my doctor, plain and simple. Yeah, something's wrong with her. This house couldn't be haunted. I had to have just been imagining things. I mean, I get it. If I am saw that kind of shit or heard that kind of shit on a mansion that was supposedly haunted, I'd probably be telling myself the exact same thing. I'd be like, oh, I'm losing my mind. I just need more sleep. Something. Though I do hope it doesn't get worse. We did promise to watch Zachary's film together.
I know what you mean. I've been complaining to Isabel. It doesn't seem to affect her much, though. Must be because she grew up in the tropics. Anyway, shall we? She's probably hanging out with the rest of the catering staff.
Oh, I wouldn't be surprised she's there. She eats like 10 hungry men when she isn't feeling well. Lead the way.
And with a small nod, she gestures for me to follow. I do so without much thought, finally putting everything in the back of my mind. Still in the afternoon on Friday the 21st. The entire visit took a whole 24 minutes, and my trip to the mansion, as it turns out, is a useless endeavor in itself. Isabella's no longer there. She left shortly before I arrived. Or at least that's what the few staff who saw her assumed. None of them knew where she went, but I can take a few guesses. There are only a number of places in Luxembourg she frequents, and well, she's never been the complex kind. It really doesn't take a genius to figure that out. Still, it's odd that she just left all on her own. She could have at least waited for Miss Cooper. It would have saved her having to pay the cab's fare twice today.
And right after she was told to stay put! I mean, who does that?
Right?
Oh, sod off! You don't own the road!
Yeah, she's frustrated. She's already, both her and Rose have already admitted how fucking stubborn Isabella is, so, like, it shouldn't be a big surprise to her. Let's go ahead and check up on this journal entry real quick, guys. Alright. While waiting at the mansion, Rebecca overheard a brief conversation between the right couple and their interior designer and real estate agent, Rose Cooper. It was discovered afterwards that Isabella had already left just a few hours ago. In the end, all Miss Cooper could give me were a string of apologies for my trouble and a request to let her know when I find Isabella. The whole affair didn't last that long. I probably spent more time traveling back and forth. Soon enough, I'm weaving my way back to downtown Luxembourg worried sick. And on top of that, maybe just a little annoyed, you think? Whether at the unexpected turn of events or the Isabella herself, I'd rather not think about it for right now. Not when I'm already running late for Zachary's film. Besides, I'm perfectly sure that's where I'll find her. And here we go. As one would expect, people are already gathered at the movie house when I get to it. The small avenue where it's located has been closed off early from the passing traffic to make way for the avid moviegoers who are sure to crowd the venue. Point of no return. His first movie, and yeah, they're going to see it. I have to park almost a street away and walk the remaining distance because of it. Looking for them has taken a while in a crowd this big, but eventually I spot them near the entrance. Thanks to Zachary, mostly. And like I've surmised, Isabella is with them.
I knew it.
Wasting no time, I march over to their little group. Words filled with concern tumble out of my mouth before I can stop myself.
Isabella! Oh, thank goodness! Becca, you're just in time.
An odd expression crosses her face as I hold it with both hands, but I ignore it in favor of getting a good look at her, forcing her to keep still and fix her gaze at me.
Becca, you're squishing my face.
She's squishing her face. And got her hands on her face. Are you okay? Are you okay? I love it.
How are you? Are you all right? Why wouldn't I be?
There doesn't seem to be any visible injuries, nor does she appear to be in any pain. Apart from her confused frown at my question, she looks pretty much like how she would look any other day. Even so, you can't really tell those things with her at first glance. The last time she got sick, she never bothered to call anyone, even me, who lives right next door. If I hadn't checked on her then, she probably would have died on her bed with the rest of us none the wiser. That's kind of scary. It's one thing we laugh about now, but moments like those also teach you something about a person. If anything, it has given me more of a reason to constantly worry about Isabella. And at the moment a familiar name comes up, I know my concerns right now aren't completely baseless.
Rose called me earlier.
Her expression swiftly changes, and gently as she can, Isabella pushes my hands away. Yet even before she says anything, I already have a hunch now or how this whole thing will play out.
Oh, no, everything's good. Rose covered for me at work today.
That's not what I'm talking about. How's your head?
Then and there, the whole conversation goes down as I've imagined. She dodges my hand when I reach for the back of her head, intending to check the said injury myself. Even makes a show of hiding behind Zachary just to avoid me. That's kind of funny. Instantly, what's supposed to be a simple inquiry dissolves into a shameless game of tag. Shouting and chasing like none of us can be bothered to act like the full-grown adults that we're all supposed to be. Including Ash. I won't put it past Isabella, but Ash? Out of everyone? In fact, if that stupid smirk on his face tells me anything, he finds this whole mess amusing. And for the love of...
Isabella, this isn't a laughing matter.
That's funny.
She did look pale when I saw her.
Wow, thanks a lot, Ashton, you traitor.
You
I'll
traitor.
get you back for this. Just you wait.
That's funny.
What? I'm just saying it as it is. If you mentioned this earlier, we wouldn't be having this conversation right now.
And there's a moment's pause. Yeah, if I remember right, remember guys, but it's almost August now. And when I was playing Isabella's point of view, I looked back at it, guys. That was way back in January. So it's been 6, 7, 8 months now? 7 months? It's been 7 months since I saw Isabella's point of view. So that's why things are a little bit hazy to me. This has been a long visual novel, but it's also been one that I've, taken months-long breaks between episodes. And we're continuing because it is captivating enough to keep me going. But sometimes, I just get busy with life or whatever. But yeah, I started reading this back in January, so that's why things are a little bit hazy. But I do think I remember that Isabella, when she fell and she had that incident, she called her best friend Ash. I do believe it was Ash that came and picked her up, or maybe it was Zachary. She called one of these guys to come pick her up. Can't remember who. Maybe it might have been Zachary that came and picked her up, because I do remember vaguely how Luke, I think when he saw Zach at the front door picking up Isabella, I think Luke had basically said the racist comment, the N-word, to Zachary. I don't know why you're on my, the Blake is on my porch, or, on my property or whatever, filtering up my property. Something like that. And that was our first taste of how big of an ass that Luke himself is, the husband of Hannah. So yeah, it must have been Zach that went and picked her up. Like I said, it's kind of, some parts of it are kind of vague since it was so long ago. Anyway, there's a moment's pause. My hand steals midair as my attention shifts to Ash and the words he leaves hanging between the four of us. He doesn't meet my eye. I don't think he's even aware of what he even said. But the meaning in each syllable alone is clear. And they echo. They sting. They burn.
I'm sorry. Saw her?
Yeah, they arrived together. Bella looked fine to me then. I don't know.
Okay, so it was Ash that went and picked her up. Yeah, I thought she called her best friend Ash or whatever, and to come pick her up. And then they met Zachary. Yeah, they met Zachary at this movie theater, because this is Zach's first movie or whatever. Of course. Of course. Why else would Isabella leave on her own after being told to stay put? After that little chat about money this morning? Something close to silence falls while I mull over their words. Both what's already been said and what's left unspoken. And when I do find my voice, it only reeks with nothing but bitter, unpleasant thoughts. Thoughts I quickly stamp out before they surface. Thoughts I hide the best I can in the deepest parts of my mind, locking it away for no one to see.
Oh, that's good. At least she didn't have to travel alone, right? At least. Good.
And yet as I try as I might, the green-eyed monster easily rears its ugly head. Like it always does every time his gaze lingers a second longer. Every time he smiles in a manner far too gentle, far too sincere, whenever he thinks nobody can see. Every time my mind suggests his words mean more than they should. Every small little thing. Despite what he says, despite his tone.
Look, you guys.
For all I know, it may just be the same kind of fondness born from friendship. Maybe I'm simply overthinking, like he often tells me, or maybe there really is something there. But in his short display of impatience, I know the whole of it just is for show. After all, growing up together with him didn't teach me nothing about him at all. For whose sake it is this time, though? For him? For Zachary? For her? Or for me? That I can't tell.
If she says she's okay, then there's nothing we can do about it. It's not like we can stop her either. Besides, she's still acting like the same old Isabella to me, if she can still run around like that.
Why are you taking her side?
I'm not. But if she wants to watch Zach's movie with us, I'm not going to stop her. She's probably the one looking forward to it the most.
Fair?
Ash, that's... You, of all people, should know...
Tell you what, if I notice something amiss with her, I'll take her to the nearest hospital myself. Is that good enough for you?
He's convincing. My mouth opens and snaps shut almost as quickly, forming a thin, hard line instead. I can't respond, not because there's nothing to say. On the contrary, there's plenty. So many things I can use to reason and get him to agree. But because he speaks with so much certainty, with so much reassurance, it feels like there isn't even a choice for me. All I can do is give a long, deep breath and a reluctant nod in the face of it. And before I can get a grip of myself and my own weakness, the mood immediately shifts, and I'm being tackled into a hug.
Thanks, Becca.
Nice.
It's always been you with him, isn't it?
Did you say something?
Me? Nothing. Don't mind me.
A lie, obviously. What else can it be? Each and every smile a teeny effort to keep things as they are, or so I tell myself. Little do I know this is merely preamble. It starts out quietly and without fanfare, amidst friendly jibes and harmless teasing, with a scrap of paper fluttering harmlessly to the ground. One that looks suspiciously like a cheap Halloween prank, no matter how you look at it. Uh-oh. We know what this is. This is the name of the whole visual novel. This is the letter. This is what Isabella found in that mansion while she was nosying about, looking around the mansion, so she could get better acquainted with it and, you know, make a better sell of it. And she found, not only she run into that thing, but she also had found this letter with blood-written words. And, yeah, we can tell by the sound, the music in the background, this is, not good. And yet, despite how ludicrous it all is, Isabella stubbornly insists, as if her whole life depends on acknowledging the truth in her story. Does she even realize how absurd she sounds right now? Heavens, even my students wouldn't fall for this.
Isabella, aren't you taking this a bit too far?
She doesn't give me time to regret nor think over my choice of words. From there, it escalates, grows into an argument too petty, even for our standards as adults. Before we know it, one after another harsh, scathing words are being spoken.
It's not a joke! Will you guys listen to me first? I saw something in the house earlier. It stood right in front of me.
Yep.
If I hadn't gotten away, that thing might have...
Right. And in broad daylight, Isabella. Even someone gullible would find the logic in that screwed up.
Yeah, and you can tell her best friend Ash doesn't even believe her at all.
There's also no way in hell that this supernatural shit is true.
But it's real! What do you think I saw?
A hallucination? A delusion? Didn't you say you fell down some stairs? So maybe Rebecca's right.
It happened after, when I was trying to get away. I almost got stuck in the same room with that thing. We're all in danger. I thought you were my friends. Why don't you believe me?
But someone who has to be patient in all of this, and however much my own has already been frayed earlier, there's nobody else. Who else here can deal with someone selfishly acting like a kid. Like every other time, it has to be me.
We are, and you know that. But this thing and that thing has got nothing to do with the other. When Rose called earlier, I thought she's just exaggerating. But based on what I'm seeing right now, maybe it's better if we really postpone this for now.
Don't bother.
And just like that, she cuts us all off. Slams the door right in our faces while my own temper flares before I can stop it. Although it falters briefly at the hard expression on her, then she snatches the blasted paper from Ashton, and I hold on to it. Regardless of how upset she appears, soured expression and balled fist, throwing a tantrum is simply unacceptable. For a grown woman at that. Words form at the tip of my tongue, ready. But before I can open my mouth and let it all out, her feelings and mistakes be damned, Zachary raises a voice of his own.
Guys!
A warning underneath a warm and hopeful beat in his voice. We all stop to look at him, and even my own anger subsides a little at his tone.
Why don't we all calm down first? I'm sure Isabella has her reasons too. No need to be hard on her. And hey, ain't this supposed to be a happy get-together?
Right? To an outsider, it may sound like a desperate request, but Zachary has always been the one to keep a level head over petty squabbles. This time's no different. He knows exactly what to say, and when he lets it fall, the only ring is sharp and true.
We haven't seen each other for months. I'd really love to know what y'all have been up to. I only ever get to talk to Bella over chat. Please.
And as careful as he is with his own tone, it does make me feel ashamed. We're supposed to be for him, to care about, to give what little support we can give. Yet here he is, trying to keep three stubborn people from outright hashing it out right here in public. Later, we can and will talk about it, of course. And I loved how when Zachary came in and told him to knock it off, basically, I love how the music completely changed to the music we hear now. Just a great tune that fits the moment perfectly. There's a proper time and a place for it all. And at the moment, my anger and whatever reprimands it carries no longer matter. Besides me, Ashton appears to have already caught on. The lines on his shoulders ease to something much more relaxed, and his expression back to his usual nonchalance. Isabella, however, she stands perfectly still, her hands clasping the straps of her bag like a lifeline, eyes trained at some point near her shoes. But there's no anger in her face at all. Only an undeniable hurt. And I mean, it's understandable that Isabella would be hurt. The fact that her best friends, the people she confides in, Zachary and Ash especially, and Rebecca here, that we're playing the point of view, she's heartbroken that people don't believe what she's saying, you know? And it's understandable that people wouldn't believe that a fucking monster attacked her. You know? It's understandable she's hurt, though. But she's never been good at hiding when she thinks. She's always an open book, always the one to wear her heart out in the open. And when she looks up, her answer is also as simple.
If we keep arguing here, we're going to miss the first few minutes.
Right? Her lips are curled up in a smile, though lacking both its usual brightness and glee, it's a smile nonetheless. I've seen it countless times. It's the very same one she would show when she knows she has no other choice, or simply when things get tough for her. But despite everything I already know about her, it still catches me off guard. In all honesty, I expected her to run, to balk at the first sign of losing this time. I won't even be surprised. At 26, she is the youngest among the rest of us, less experienced, less accustomed to dealing with trivial quarrels like this. Yet here she is, holding herself and coping with it like how she would with matters concerning her own family. Outside of that, to me, she has always been this childish, naive girl, and watching the opposite play out right now. Somehow, I find it difficult to wrap my head around it all.
All right, that's the Isabella I know.
Oh, good. I thought for sure you were going to cry.
Oh boy. That's funny. Gosh. But I envy her.
What was that for?
Stop calling me a crybaby. I'm not one.
Oh, don't cry.
Oh boy, he is teasing the shit out of her.
Stop it.
I envy her spirit, her warmth, and her cheer. The shine in her eyes when she looks at the world. How everything seems to simply fall back to a pleasant, lively rhythm with her around. How easily and tightly she fits into our lives, even without bonds only long years could have forged. Like a lost piece of a puzzle, despite her jagged edges. How she draws people with her ease. Now Ashton, of all people, can be drawn to her.
Okay, scaredy cat then.
That too. If you repeat that, I swear I'll...
Let's just go.
I make no effort keeping the bitterness from my tone. I let it seep, linger stiffly in the air as I avert my gaze away from them. From their playful banter, their friendly teasing remarks, and Ashton's tender, affectionate smiles. All before the stabbing aches in my heart change into something more painful to bear. It's all in my head, is what I'd often tell myself. Yet the way my heart rends at just the sight of them hurts. And like a coward, I walk away from it all, taking with me a small hope the movie will distract me away from these thoughts. Because like this, it's easy to find something to hate in her. And in the evening, dusk has already given way tonight when we leave the film fest. Unfortunately, it does nothing to improve my mood like I'm hoping. Neither does the muggy air that greets us upon stepping back out into the noisy streets. Too busy. Too loud. Too many people taking what little space the sidewalk offers. It forces everyone to bump shoulders with those they don't even know, let alone care anything about. On a normal evening, I probably wouldn't have minded the crowd nor the humid weather. It's not like any of them are bothering anyone. And yet, even with what's admittedly a pleasant company, I can't bring myself to lighten up.
See you guys some other time.
Yeah. See ya.
Not even to return the smiles Ashton and Zachary gives us when we go our separate ways. Perhaps it started with Miss Cooper's call, or earlier than that. Maybe even the moment I left bed this morning. Bloody hell, it could have been because of that sodding letter, for all I know. I couldn't care less at this point, though. All I want to do is get a warm bath, sleep, and wait for this dreadful day to finally end. Now, if only Isabella would stop babbling, so maybe this dull throbbing at the side of my head won't turn into a full-blown headache as well.
Zach did a pretty good job with his movie, didn't he? Even though Ash said he ran into some trouble late into filming. But I knew he had it in him. It's not like I didn't believe he couldn't do it. I mean, did you see his face after the credits rolled? All those months he worked on this, and everything's finally...
You weren't even watching.
Huh.
Only the first minutes. I watched the rest of it, I swear. Besides, Ashton was the one who wouldn't stop asking questions.
Well, why do we still need to talk about this then? I liked it. Ash liked it. You liked it. Shouldn't you be telling that to Zachary in person? I'm sure he'll appreciate it better than I ever will.
I know that, but maybe there's something you want to say? Zach had you check the scripts before he went through everything, didn't he? You also worked on it, even if it was only for a short time.
Sorry guys, I missed that. Even if it was only for a short time, so maybe you want to, I don't bother waiting for the rest. I don't bother waiting for the rest. The moment I spot my car, I immediately make a quick beeline for it. Knowing her, this is merely another attempt at starting a conversation. Just so we'll have something to fill the dead air, to replace the strained atmosphere we've somehow walked into here. One thing, the very thing, I'm not too keen on to deal with at the present moment. Behind me, Isabella also changes her pace to match mine, her soft strides growing brisk and uneven in order to catch up. A small part of me half expects she'll suddenly trip. She's not the clumsy sort, but there are definitely times when she can be the least coordinated person on the whole planet.
Becca, hey! Oh no. Wait for me!
And people wonder why I worry. They're not really completely unfounded, once you've already grown familiar with her habits. Though right now, this is at the very end of the list of things I want to think about. Sometimes it just does become overbearing. Even her voice as she calls after me sounds nothing more than background noise to my ears right now.
Rebecca, slow down, will you? Your car's not going to leave without us.
The sooner we get on the road, the earlier we can get home.
Yeah, she sounds frustrated.
It's Friday, in case you didn't notice.
I know what day it is, but the traffic's not going to magically disappear, even if we go there right now.
I don't want to hear that from you. Didn't you used to complain how horrendous the traffic is back home for you?
Yeah? But that doesn't have anything to do with this, Becca.
Okay. What do you want to do then? Wait it out? Walk? I just want to go home, Isabella. If you want to stay out here longer, I won't stop you. But leave me out of it. I'm not up for any other foolish excursions tonight.
I wasn't thinking about an excursion. I want to go home too. It's already late. It's just that you've been in this prickly mood since earlier. Are you really okay? Was it the cold? Or did something happen at school?
Oh, she sounds genuinely caring about her neighbor and 5-year friend, Rebecca. That's adorable.
Do you want to talk about it?
A long pause follows, and it holds everything she's been meaning to ask from the very start. I'm in no mood, but at the same time, my hand stops short of unlocking my car, and my grip on the handle tightens. I can feel her eyes boring on me, waiting, hoping patiently for any answers that I give. She's the same as Zachary. They're bad liars. But when you talk to people like them, if you're not careful, they often leave you with no other choice but to admit the truth. Those exact same ones I can't voice. Despite my lack of a response, she pushes on, surprisingly. This time her tone is quieter, more tentative than usual.
Was it because of the letter?
It's a well-meaning question, much like the rest of this talk, yet something in how she says it just irks me.
If it is, I'm really sorry. I didn't mean to cause a scene. I did see something in the mansion, though. I wasn't lying about that.
Whatever she wants to take this, I no longer want to hear a single word of it. Not at this minute. Actually, probably never. Especially when there are already a million other things buzzing and prodding inside my head. Sometimes my patience can only be tried for so long. Did she say I'm not in the mood to talk? Or this cold caught up with me? I think Isabella's a sweetheart. I think they're probably good friends. I know that, again, remember guys, I try to a lot of times make the more plausible choice here. But I think with Isabella's tone and sincerity and everything like that, I think the easier escape, and I think that Rebecca's going to look for the easier escape just to go home. And I think rather than fighting more, I think the choice would be to say this cold's caught up with me. I'm not in the mood to talk. But maybe she would choose this? I don't know. I don't know how much of an impact this is going to have in the overall end of the story, but we're just going to say this cold caught up with me. And we've already talked, she's already said how big of a liar Isabella could be and Zachary could be, so yeah, we're just gonna give her a little lie as well.
And during the open house, even if there were a lot of people around, there were weird things happening.
Let's check and see what that did to our relationship. Okay, so it's went up a little bit.
I don't know if there was anyone else who noticed, but I heard things. I'm sure it wasn't because I fell down the stairs. Even before that, in the attic,
Isabella.
Yeah?
A pause, though I don't let it last, only to give myself a small window to breathe before I lay down the words between us with as much restraint as my patience allows. Which is not much after everything. I can only hope Isabella will simply take them as they are. She can be so stubborn as a mule when she wants to be.
This kind of conversation tonight. Look, it's been a long day. I think this cold also caught up with me, and I'm really exhausted. Can we talk about this some other time?
She blinks, and although disappointment flashes momentarily on her face, she gives me a curt nod. A relief enough for me, perhaps the first time I genuinely feel it today. As unpleasant as this day has been, seeing something go the way I've anticipated takes the edge out of it. Even if I'm lying through my teeth, had to go with it.
Oh, alright. You should have just said so. I told you should have taken a full week off. Were you able to get the meds I brought you, though? Do you need anything? I could drop by the pharmacy for you.
Yeah, no need to fuss. A good night's sleep is all I need. I've been busy the whole day. I guess I should have listened to you and taken it easy. But we have exams to prepare for. It's one or the other, you know?
I knew it! Here I thought you were just upset about something. Even Ash looked a little bit worried about you.
It's fine. Let's just head home, okay? I'll make it up to you next time. Call me out to lunch or wherever, just... not right now.
Okay, but should you be driving? If you want, I can call a taxi for us. You'll hate paying the extra fees, but you'll be able to get some rest on the way home.
No, don't call a cab. I can manage driving at least. Just get in the car so we can be on our way.
I'm already opening the door and climbing into the seat before she can even protest. Left with no other choice, she follows inside shortly, albeit with a bit of reluctance. The guilt from this will eat at me later, but for now, these little falsehoods are mine to bear and hide under. For now, this is the better choice. Better than pretending she doesn't exist or giving her just vague answers. Certainly better than harsh words and outright lashing out at her. I can find a little comfort in that. Thankfully, if there's anything left to be spoken between us after, we don't have to discuss it on the way home. Or rather, we can't. Because no sooner than we hit the road, Isabella dozes off. Despite my foul mood, I end up suppressing a laughter once the first sounds of her breathing fill the car. That's actually kind of cute.
Mama?
Oh, she says mama.
Not your mom, Isabella.
Slow and steady, the quiet rhythm so completely unlike her, so far removed from every impression anyone has of her. A few faint whimpers will occasionally come from her, but otherwise, it's just us, this silence, and it's so utterly unexpected. Still, a welcome break, of course. Peace and quiet is one thing you'll rarely get with her around. Yet, it's nowhere near comforting. It merely lends the air the strange clarity. Every little sound, every single movement is more palpable. And with it comes back that unease. A jolt of surprise hits me. It's almost comical, as if this were a different situation. In my haste, I accidentally dislodge my mobile from its seat on the dashboard when I swipe on the screen. Soon, I'm scrambling blindly for it with my other hand, while keeping a steady eye on the road ahead of me. A voice crackles from the loudspeakers before I can put back. Although muffled heavily by the surface, I recognize the person on the other line in her chipper tone alone.
Hello?
Miss Cooper?
Oh, you're still awake. Evening.
Oh boy.
I hope I didn't disturb you or anything. I know it's a bit late. Sorry about that. I just want to check on you and Isabella. That girl's still not answering her mobile. Were you able to meet up with her?
I like the static in the phone call. You can tell, yeah, there's static in there, like it's not a great connection.
Yes, she's with me. We're on our way home.
Hello? What was that again? I can't hear you properly.
Yep.
Sorry, let me just fix this dumb phone.
Oh boy. That's like a help me. Remember that Rose got killed in devastating fashion, and she was on the news of being killed in her own apartment. Blood everywhere, and I think even help me written all over the walls, if I remember right. And we're hearing the help me on the phone call. This is effed up. My hand stops dead for a moment. I spare the device a brief glance, waiting. Seconds pass. Nothing happens though. Frankly, I'm not sure what I'm expecting, but the lines of my mouth forms into a frown regardless.
Miss Cooper?
Yes, still here.
Wow.
Did you say something?
Just that I didn't get the last part. What were you saying again?
No, I thought you... Never mind. Must be the signal acting up.
Again. Help me. Wow. Wow, guys. That's crazy.
Come again?
She says it again. What'd you say?
What?
Is everything all right over there?
Certainly. Is something wrong? What wouldn't?
Man, that's a crappy phone call.
Okay, you seem to be busy. If this is a good time, I can just call you back some,
Damn. That's a freaky call, because we know what ends up happening. Again. Yeah, and watch, Rebecca's gonna end up thinking, oh, this is how tired she is. She's gonna say that, you know, I'm so tired and exhausted that I'm just hearing stuff. Wow. I have to make a conscious effort not to panic right then and there. Although my tight hold on the steering wheel tells a different story altogether.
Miss Cooper? Rose? Hey, Rose! Are you still there?
That would be scary, especially as you're driving home after the day they've had. Isabella telling you, you know, what she saw and nobody believing it. Just everything. Only a burst of static answers me, and... Again, to help me. Maybe this lapse is entirely because of exhaustion. What did I tell you guys? What did I tell you? She's gonna think it's because she's so tired. She's gonna make that excuse for herself. It has been a long day, and I haven't fully recovered from last week's bout of the flu, contrary to what I've been telling people. Though perhaps had I paid closer attention to it, had I not been so occupied with other thoughts, I probably would have noticed earlier. That it never came from my phone, but from somewhere right behind me. Oh shit. What? OMG. Tell me that wouldn't freak you the hell out while you're driving. You see that in your rearview mirror. You hear that groaning. Oh my god. Another absolutely horrifying moment, all by this frickin' bee. This frickin' nasty, horrifying bitch. Time slows to a crawl. Looking up is a mistake. The first thing I see is his face. A ghastly shade, every inch battered, bruised, and bloodied. Even in the darkness and the world passing by in a blur of lights outside, I can still make it out. I can still make out all the wounds. Blood still oozes from it. Little trails of crimson running down its face, glistening under what little light there is. But it is the gleam in its eyes that catches mine. The quiet plea, the anguish, and the desperation in her eyes, more than its hideous features and the awful stench of gore now soaking in the air. As I try as I might, I can't bring myself to look away from it, even as its own lips contort into a horrific smile. Even as a sharp, harsh noise pierces the air and the silence around us. Look at that evil freaking smile, guys. Oh man, those ghastly white eyes, dead eyes, whatever. And look at the panic we can see Just in the eye. Look at how well this art's done. Look at the fear in her eye. Such well done art.
Rebecca!
Wow, this all woke up Isabella.
Huh? Car! Eyes on the road!
Damn. Oh man. Against everything I've been taught, and I've constantly reminded myself, I just closed my eyes. Oh man, that horrific thing is like laughing an evil laugh as she's about to fucking crash and kill them both. Jesus Christ. It's a very brief moment. A short, vivid second of muscle memory and instinct completely taking over. And if I didn't allow it, if my hands didn't move or my feet didn't hit the brakes in that exact second, I might have. Isabella and I might have. No! I shake the notion away before I lose myself in it all. Right now, it's an ugly line of thought I refuse to venture into. Not when breathing is a struggle and every ounce of strength has been totally drained from my body. Most definitely not why Isabella's panicked voice beside me still rings in my ears. We're alive. We're safe. And that's all that matters. But it is not her face that I look for when I finally open my eyes. It's all gone. I expected stains, little telling marks and creases on the covers to show me where it's set not just a second ago. But whoever, whatever that thing is, it's left not a single freaking trace. And though courage is a hard thing to gather at this point, I take what little of it remains in me and turn towards the back seat. Even then, there's none. Whew, man, that's intense. Or was there really something in there in the first place? With how empty it is, I'm beginning to doubt it. This stupid flu again.
I need a long rest after this.
Yeah, it was a nightmare, right? My hands fall uselessly to my sides, numb from how taut my grip is on the wheel, yet still trembling from the unexpected rush of the adrenaline. Against my ears, my heart still pounds an erratic rhythm, and my breathing hasn't slowed down at all. But the world has already righted itself without waiting for me, and little by little, second after second, I sat here motionless. Color begins to seep back around me. Along with it are the sounds and a voice, no longer the indistinct ringing that it was earlier.
Rebecca? Becca, are you okay?
She sounds freaked the fuck out.
Answer me, will you? You're scaring me.
Right?
You know what? I think we should just call a taxi since...
Can you keep it down?
Strained, harsh, and completely unintentional. But with heat prickling at the back of my eyes and the mild throbbing in my temple, I could honestly do with a little silence right now.
Keep it down? We almost crashed, Becca!
I know what happened. It was a lapse. I'm sorry.
A lapse? You call that a lapse? Becca, I really don't want to end up a mangled mess on the side of the road. Or a mangled mess anywhere.
Right?
All I'm asking, if the time ever comes, which I hope isn't right now, is a peaceful death. Give that one to me at least. Not that I'm asking for it, but please.
Give me a peaceful death, not a fucking fiery crash.
Isabella. Belle, you're overreacting.
No, I don't think she is.
If you're so worried, why don't you drive?
Don't have a license.
I keep telling you to get one, didn't I? For the past 5 years. Do you see why now?
I wasn't really expecting to stay here this long. I thought it'd just be for a year or two.
Now remember, she's here in America trying to work and trying to help her father pay for a lot of the medical attention he needs back home in Asia. All of a sudden, a pensive mood comes over her. Isabella looks away then, while what's left on my little lecture never crosses the tip of my tongue. I don't allow it to. Because in each of these words she let loose earlier is a small truth. Her stay has always been meant to be something fleeting. Earn some good money, go home, It's what she'd tell herself during the first year here. Now, half a decade later, I'm not sure if she still believes that. Even I'm not sure if I still believe it. And if there's something in her reasons that has changed along the way, even if I already have a hunch, it's one thing I'll never bother to ask. Those are hers to keep.
I'll be careful this time, I promise. Just please, can we give this whole thing a rest for now?
Maybe if you drive straight and don't see that bitch anymore, maybe you'll get home safe. She nods, and that's the end of it. We spend the rest of the trip back to Salemville in silence. All thoughts of an overactive imagination playing tricks on a flu-addled mind and of smiles never meant for my eyes abandoned, if only for a brief moment. Woo! And that, guys, was a very long chapter, probably the longest one we've read yet, but there was a lot to this chapter, and I thoroughly enjoyed this one. Guys, I am trying to read one day of time, unless it's like, less than 30 minutes or whatever, then I'll go into the second day or whatever. But like the last chapter, one day passed in only 40 minutes, and the last part 15, was only 40 minutes long. Well, today, if you were left, feeling like you had left, missed out or something like that in the last chapter of this visual novel, well, then hopefully tonight's episode or part made up for what was lacking in last night's chapter. I definitely feel like this chapter was more intense and more interesting and exciting than what we did last night in chapter 15. So guys, we're still continuing on. Let me go ahead and save. We're still continuing on with Rebecca's point of view. Let's go ahead and go back to the main menu. Look at our new journal entry real quick. Catch up on that. After watching Blue Fonse, Isabella tried making small talk with Rebecca, but the latter was a pickly mood and not interested. On their way home, Rebecca glimpsed something suspicious sitting in the back of her car. Yeah, that's to say the very least of how this little chapter went. I'm just saying. Yeah. Nope. I think we have to quit. Let's go ahead and take a look at the gallery, see how much progress we've made in Chapter 5, Rebecca. 25% is all. So there's a lot more of Rebecca coming. And guys, we'll continue on with Rebecca's point of view in Part 17 of my playthrough of The Letter. And that'll be LiveStream on Moonshine number 309. We'll probably get to that tomorrow night. Guys, I wanted to go and thank you for watching. If you're watching this on my YouTube channel, be sure you comment down below. Be sure you like my video, but be sure you comment down below. Let me know how much you're enjoying my playthrough of The Letter. Also, let me know if you've ever played The Letter yourself or seen somebody else play it before my playthrough. I would love to know. Thanks so much for watching, everybody. We'll see you in the next video. And have a great when safe day or night. Hopefully, like, some of the events happening in The Letter never happened to you in your lifetime. Yeah, or me either. Alright guys, thanks so much for watching. Have a great one. Take care.